think it's important to have these discussions and to get over it.
Hey guys, this is a couples review, and we are here to review Married at First Sight, season 11, episode 11, Christina and Henry.
Oh yeah, Christina and Henry.
Oh, poor Henry.
So this is, in my opinion, the worst couple on the show this season. Just to put that out there. Christina.
They gave us so much hope last episode, though. We thought they were gonna be coming back.
You know I think the hope that I get is generally Henry.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when he gets to open up and really show some of his personality, because he doesn't, then it's like, oh, maybe this can work because he is a regular person.
Yeah.
But then, you know, and Christina sometimes when she's showing her patience, but she shows it in such a way that it's like she's babysitting.
Yeah.
You know, she's, you know.
I didn't catch that at first, but then when I was looking, I'm like, you're right. It's like she's babysitting. She's always trying to teach.
Yeah.
Like she's a therapist or something.
Right. Like she's an in-home healthcare nurse. You know, this is how we fold. Henry.
Right. That's when you first said that.
Do you want me to mush your peas up for you?
Oh my God. So they meet with Dr. You're so silly. So Dr. Viviana comes through and, you know, they talk. They basically agree. Because you're staring at it so hard.
Good thing this ain't a video cast.
They agree that they didn't start off good, but they both said that they're getting better, right? Because at this moment, we don't know all the other stuff that's going to happen. We're coming from last episode. This is how it starts off for them. And, you know, Dr. Viviana made a great point. It's not that Henry isn't emotional. He's just not emotionally expressive.
Right. Like he hasn't found much use in his life for opening up in that way. And, you know, I feel like there may be some other trauma there that he's unwilling to say on on this show, which I can understand why he wouldn't. But I think somebody who is just a little insecure, I think they still, you know, when they get more comfortable, it's easier for them to open up and it's easier for them to share their feelings and they're easier for them to be a little bit more confident, especially when you have like Christina, who's basically just saying, take the reins, just, you know, just talk, just be confident with her.
But he also hasn't had the amount of time that he would normally have, because if someone has some deep issues with that and needs a little bit more time to feel comfortable with somebody, then someone like Christina wouldn't make him feel comfortable. Before we get to why, because I was going to say, we've seen him feel and seem more comfortable around other people.
That's true. And yeah, we do see him comfortable around other people.
Right. But before we get to that, about him being emotionally expressive, Dr. Viviana says in a marriage, you have to do that. You know, that's to make it work, you have to be emotionally expressive. So I can agree.
Absolutely, you have to.
Yeah, I mean that can go for Karen. I know we're not on them, but
and for Brett,
you know, and for Brett,
and for Brett,
yeah.
And so you have to be emotionally expressive. But I think for everybody, Henry is going to have the most difficult time doing it. However, he did say that the next 2 weeks he would be better,
and he showed that later on in the episode that he was trying to get emotionally expressive. But during this conversation, Henry also stated that he had only dated a couple of people, so he doesn't have that much experience, which I could clearly see.
Well, yeah.
And so then Dr. Viviana asks how they want to build intimacy. And Christina, like she's always been saying, which I can see why she says that. She says the ball is in his court. Then he does some funny, like shooting in the air movement. I thought that was funny. I'm like, Henry has a personality.
Yeah, but it's like he's 14. And the ball is in your court, Henry. Ooh. Let me shoot it.
That was, you know, so funny.
But she's basically saying, yeah, I'm open. Like we can boogie woogie as soon as he, you know, comes on to me. But Henry probably needs somebody else who's going to initiate sex. If Henry has ever had sex in his life, it wasn't because he initiated it.
But you know what's interesting? I could see why you say that. What's interesting to me is Dr. Viviana, she said that there basically needs to be some more intimate touch. Yeah, she mentions that they need to do more, physical things and touch each other. Henry said he's open to like doing the basic holding hands and cuddling.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Uh-oh.
no, I'm good with like, just like natural affection.
It's a big step. You touched her and she was like, oh. So, like, how do I act? Yeah.
Christina says she's open to any physically. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
She said any.
ready. She's ready. But yeah, with Henry, he's not gonna push that button.
Yeah.
Even when she's being, and I think really Christina should try to help him be confident with her.
Mm-hmm. Because Dr. Viviana said it's hard for someone to basically come onto you if you don't seem receptive to it.
Mm. Does Christina seem like she's not receptive to it?
I think she seems very judgmental, which to me is the same thing.
Judgmental.
Kind of like receptive, like you're not open to whatever I give you because you're gonna judge it if it's, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the worst thing for an insecure person,
Yeah.
is to be with somebody who is so judgy. I mean, literally, and he probably says even the way Christina looks at him is very judgy and very much just in empathy. Like, I'm just like, I feel sad for you. Like, you're, and I don't know what really, like I was saying earlier, the trauma that's got his tail tucked so far up his butt that, he can't even look somebody in the eye.
Yeah.
That is a problem. And again, the experts.
But he looked at Bennett in the eye when they were talking.
The experts should have seen this, though. This is not the makeup for a successful relationship.
But this scene was actually a good scene. We just know what's going to happen further ahead. So we're giving our opinions based off of that. But this particular scene was honestly, before we knew the BS was going to happen, it was a good scene because they basically were in agreement with things are going to get better. Henry touched her leg and she was surprised. He turned red. It was a cute thing happening. And I'm like, okay. Things are gonna right.
The longer his hand was on her thigh, the more red he got.
Right.
He had to take it off before he exploded.
Right, exactly. He was so nervous. That's funny. So that was a good scene. Then they do the question game where they're blindfolded, and so Henry goes first.
And I thought that was a pretty cool a way to do it, especially for Henry, is to do it with blindfolded. That way you can feel comfortable in your space.
Exactly.
And he said that he lacked confidence. What did he say in that? And when he was blindfolded?
The second question that Christina asked Henry was, what's one thing that you haven't told me that would give me more insight on, who you are? Then he talks about his lack of confidence and why, how it stems from when he was a child being teased because he was bigger, and he basically still looks at himself that way. And so it's just a little harder for him, to have confidence, or either it takes a long time. And I just really thought that she was going to be as supportive with him as he was with her. But she wasn't.
No, she wasn't. She actually I think she got more upset by finding out that
I know, isn't that something?
The basis for your insecurity is because you was a fat kid.
I think it's important to have these discussions and to get over it.
And so that made her more upset, which,
I
had to actually think about that a little bit, because I think, if it had been like some traumatizing thing that really, something really bad happened to you in your life from a whatever situation, then that makes more sense than somebody who got teased because they were fat.
I think you can't really, it's kind of like making somebody mad and telling them how mad to get. Everybody has their own triggers, and something that I would feel is silly for someone to still have an issue with may not be to the next person, and if that's something that's really bothering him, then it is what it is. And I think, especially when you're a person who admitted to being on medication. Nothing wrong with it, but you're not flawless. You told
Right.
him that you have ADD and you are on medication for it.
Mhm.
He could have easily judged you, in which he shouldn't have, and so he didn't.
Right.
So now when he's vulnerable, then you basically tell him to get over it and you judge him. I think, I mean, because he could easily say, you need medication to calm down. I think that's silly. Why can't you just,
Why can't you just
calm
calm down?
down?
Yeah.
The same thing. Like, you can't, people got their own chemical stuff going on inside of their body to what triggers them, why they can't control this and why they can't control that. And she is on him like, why can't you just get over it? I mean, that was when you're 34, what, turning 35? I thought that was very condescending. Why did you have to ask him to verify his age so you can make a point that it's
that
stupid
is
for
stupid,
him to
right.
be at that age? I thought that was horrible. She looked evil to me at that point. And look, I know I'm going in and you want to say something, but I feel like also I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, so she didn't sign up though to have to deal with somebody who she's going to have to be, this way with. And I mean, again, I guess Henry probably didn't assume that he was going to be with somebody who lacked all patience and was a pill popper. But
this has nothing to do with anybody who needs to take medication. I mean, because we all could probably use something for something. But the thing is that she's not perfect, and she's on him as if she has everything together, and it's unfair. It would be different. He showed her how he could be non-judgmental, and that was her chance to give it back.
Right, but she also doesn't love him. So why does she need to put in all of this love to somebody who she technically doesn't really even know? And so for you to be that patient and to care and to say, okay, well, then I'm going to help you become this better you, then she has to have some sort of love there for him, which maybe it just snapped
But
in
she
her
said
head
that.
I just don't. What?
She said, I can help you with that. And then she said, get over it.
I can help you. Ah!
Right.
Start smacking him in the face. Wake up.
So,
but what she did was very evil, and definitely is more likely to set this relationship back and to set even Henry back.
I totally agree. So at this point, you could tell Henry's whole energy just kind of was depleted by her response to, him sharing his emotions. I felt like that was a big step for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think it takes confidence to express that.
Well,
she wants him to open up, and here he goes.
Well, she's so judgmental, and I think there was a very a good contrast between Henry's conversation with Bennett in this episode and his conversation. And Henry's conversation with Christina.
Yeah,
because he's very much more open and has more personality when he's talking to Bennett, and that's because Bennett is non-judgmental at all. And Bennett listens and gives his opinion and advice on what on how to help. But Christina just seems to look at you with just this disgust, kind of a stare, and impatience.
Exactly. And it makes her look really, really ugly. And after she told him to get over it, the question got put back on her is, what is one of her deal breakers? And she says, a lack of confidence.
Like that right there.
Dang,
was like,
that was a dagger.
You basically took somebody's insecurity and said that this is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How could this ever work when you're dealing with a man? And that's very difficult because most men are going to tell you that they're confident. And so for this man to tell you that that's his biggest and number one issue in life is his lack of confidence. And he's already said in other episodes how he can't, or he has problems with looking people in the eye and whatever else those issues are. For you to say that the biggest deal breaker that you have is the lack of confidence, then he may as well quit right now. He may as well be like, well, then
right.
I'll go ahead and pack my stuff because this ain't changing tonight.
Right.
I'm gonna not be confident tomorrow or even next year.
Because she was like, "Is it gonna change?" She was looking like, "Oh, I'm skipping ahead." This is when they were in the kitchen, but yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna take time, and I don't think he really lacks a lot of confidence. I mean, he's on TV, he's on the show.
True.
He expressed his deepest, situation on camera with her.
Confidence.
I don't know. I feel like he is maybe not as confident as some people or her, but he's not too far off.
He's just less expressive because maybe whenever he expressed his, he expressed those things before, it just didn't work out for him in the past. So he's just learned over time that it's best for him to not express his emotions. However, being with CHRISTINA, if CHRISTINA said, "Okay, then I want to make this work. I guess I want to be with this guy," then she would say, "Well, I've come out of my insecurities and I'm quote unquote more confident. This is how we do it," and kind of help show Henry, how to do that. And maybe even through that process, Henry could show her how to be more patient. I don't think that's going to happen in this situation. I'm just saying maybe what the experts were thinking.
Yeah.
When they were sitting there, when somebody said, "Why would you pick Henry?" and somebody was like, "Listen up."
Yeah. And CHRISTINA gave another attitude during the interview, so they didn't think she was going to really just be super harsh with him. But he shows his personality, like you said, when he meets with Bennett and they talk. And I feel like even when Henry was surprised about Bennett's situation with the whole relocating, his reaction was even a lot of personality.
Right. And so, but Bennett's a good guy because I think he was one to really kind of help
make sense of it.
Henry makes sense of the fact that, confidence isn't just this bravado of, not having any issues with the things that you do.
I really do think that it takes a certain degree of confidence to be able to self-reflect and ask oneself, like, am I being the best version of myself? These are questions that at times can be crippling, but I don't think necessarily reflect a lack of confidence.
Henry really seemed to resonate with that because, he in that felt less inept.
Yeah.
And he really needs that because CHRISTINA makes him feel more inept.
Yeah. Confidence isn't the absence of any like fears or of any, of just thinking you have everything together.
Right. CHRISTINA, because CHRISTINA really has this mask of confidence.
Yeah.
When she's probably not very confident. So she's found a very good way of developing this facade.
Yeah.
And Henry just doesn't put up that facade.
Yeah. And CHRISTINA is like, when they go back home and they talk about, the conversation, CHRISTINA pushes him and says, there's something deeper. But really, it's like, no, CHRISTINA, there's something deeper with you that's going on to why you can't just chill for a second.
Well, maybe, but I really do believe that there's something more there.
Yeah, but there's a way to do it. I think what's throwing me off is the way that she's being so aggressive. He did a good thing. He came from hardly saying anything.
That's true.
To sharing something so major with you. I thought that was a huge step.
Yeah, if you think back on the very first episodes, he had a hard time even looking her in the eye.
Maybe my heart. I feel for people. And if I see someone feeling sad about something, the underdog.
Yeah, but see, and I think that's my issue too. Sometimes I look at it and I say, well, CHRISTINA didn't get involved with this to be with somebody that people feel sorry for.
Yeah, but that would be for me understandable if she came with no issue of having to take medication for ADD.
Even with her having to take
but that's
ADD.
Her flaw. You could say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that could equal the same thing to somebody else.
Right. I can't judge what flaw is bigger than the other flaw.
Because what he can say, I didn't really sign on to have to deal with somebody who got to take medication for their emotions. Because that is something you're going to have to deal with. And that could be a problem if, who knows how far that can go if she doesn't take her medication.
Right.
That's something serious. To me, it's more serious than someone having a lack of confidence because they used to be fat.
Right. And really, he will grow out of that with her in time.
Yes.
I mean,
But
if
will
you've
she
seen
grow
him,
out of needing to take medication for? Don't get me started. Don't get me
rip that hair bow out her
right.
hair.
Let me calm down.
Relax, babe. I got
Relax.
I got your
Let
back
me
though.
think of Amelia and Bennett
I'm back
and
here rubbing her
Amani and
shoulders.
Woody.
Okay, back at home with the last scene in the kitchen. Christina says that she talks to her mother, and and she says, well, and her mother is saying, oh, well, he's a really nice guy, and all of these other things that are great about Henry. But
it seems like even with all of that, Christina was kind of still coming from, like, she was like, but still, I don't like him. Like, I don't know if she was saying her mother was basically like, why don't you, like him? He has all of these things that you wanted. And then she's basically saying, but yet still I'm turned off by your lack of confidence.
Well, maybe because Christina's mother has seen Christina's relationships throughout time.
Right.
So maybe she's been
like,
dealing
girl,
with
you
all
need this.
yeah, like you've been dealing with homeless guys and
right.
guys who
Only
don't got
had
a
5
nickel
cents. Right.
rub together. and
go back to that.
Right. But you want to go back to that as opposed to being with him when nobody's perfect. And so you're gonna have to work with anybody who you're with
exactly
in order to be extremely happy in that relationship. And so
well, she says that she works so hard to become confident, and so dealing with someone who isn't confident isn't necessarily what she wants, which I get it. Now, I totally get that. I would handle it a lot different because I'm not naturally a mean person, and people have feelings and people go through their own things. But I do understand that if you're with somebody who doesn't have confidence and you had to get through having a lack of confidence, I guess you want somebody to have confidence to keep you up and keep you. But I feel like maybe she thinks that she could easily fall back down into the lack of confidence, and she really needs someone who has a lot of confidence to help keep her confidence full because, she had to come out of it.
I don't know. I think it's really something else about Henry. I think that the confidence is one thing, but I think that there's a lot of other personality issues that he has that are unattractive to Christina. And I think that has more to do with than just that.
Yeah.
Confidence. I think if he had confidence, maybe because then I guess he would come on to her. I don't know. I just think that there's more to it. I think that there's more to it, and so I really just can't imagine that this relationship could go even past the next couple of weeks. Really, I mean, it might end sooner for them than 8 weeks, in my opinion.
I think it could have been a cool thing. I mean, I think it would have been nice to actually go and talk about that lack of confidence by not making him feel super bad. I mean, what are you going to do? If you're not going to leave right now, what's the sense of making him feel horrible?
Right. At least make him better then. If that's the case.
Unless you're ready to leave now and say, I'm done with this, why do all of that if you're not getting ready to be out?
That's true. Because you could really get down to it and have all night long conversations and really try to help turn him around, especially now that you're married. You want to, and Christina could really help him be more confident. Just assure him that you're not going to chop his hand off for touching you.
Because what if it's not as serious as like a lifelong thing? Because you'd really just met him. So what if when you get to know him, that goes away? Right. But you just, from him saying that one thing, just took it far, not even realizing because you don't know him that, all I have to do is basically, it's okay, you got confidence, you're handsome, blah, blah, blah. And then what if that 2 weeks later, now you see a whole different person because that's all he needed.
Right. He just reinforcement on being confident.
But you didn't give him a chance because she just downed him. And that's what I didn't like. Although I do understand that a lack of confidence is a turnoff because it would be for me. I just wouldn't see that as a chance for me to go and then beat someone even harder.
I don't know.
That was them.
Christina and Henry.
Oh God. I feel like we have to try to make more of the good couples because it's draining. The bad couples.
Right. Well, I mean, that's all there is.
Yep.
So,
all right, y'all. Thank you for listening. We so appreciate your view. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, just because you can't see our faces
doesn't mean we're not keeping it real.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I always have to be the bad guy. I always have to be the initiator. I always have to like be the one because like he's giving me nothing.